Hello there, this is Yogi, and today I want to talk about something that comes up often in my coaching and in working with people and also in my own life. The guilt of not doing enough, that I'm not doing enough. And if I did something good in the past, in the future, we start to believe, well, I could have done better, so I didn't do my best. And over time, by believing this, we start to lose trust in ourselves. We start to doubt ourselves, self-doubt. And that leads to a lot of frustration, and this mirage of always wanting to do best leads to frustration. When we go deep, it turns out it's actually not a good question. Am I doing my best? Because best is not really well defined. The answer to that question really depends on the inclination of the person answering that question, an inclination of the person and the time at which they are answering. On a good day, I believe I'm doing my best for the same action. And on a bad day when I'm not feeling good, I don't feel I'm doing my best. I just kick myself. So that's not a good question because there's no objectively correct and accurate way of answering that question. So why do we ask that question? I'm not quite sure, but we want to improve, I believe. That's why we keep asking that question. And in the short run, it does give us motivation. I'm not doing my best, and we kick ourselves and we want to improve. But long run, it actually brings frustration and lack of self-trust and burnout. Here is an alternate perspective that last week in a coaching call I was discussing with people. Number one, instead of asking the question, am I doing my best? I assert that I am always doing my best, given my knowledge, the awareness of the situation, the circumstances, and my awareness. I'm always doing my best. And depending on how you view it, this is actually a tautology. Given my understanding and awareness, I am doing my best. I'm not intentionally trying to screw things up for my own life. And that's true for most of us. So we are always doing our best. I believe this is true for everybody, not just for me, but for everybody. They have different understanding, different awareness, different knowledge. I might think they are not doing their best, but that does not mean they are not doing their best. I might believe about myself I'm not doing my best, but that does not mean I'm not doing my best, given my awareness and understanding. So asserting, I am always doing my best. The second step is to be compassionately curious. I'm compassionately curious about my behavior when I think or when I believe I'm not doing my best. Because the mind will come up and say, well, that was not. And then when I'm compassionately curious about my action, like what in my knowledge, awareness, understanding was there that made it so that this seemingly suboptimal action is my best? Seemingly procrastination is my best response, or seemingly snapping at somebody is my best response in the situation. What gave rise to that? What is the underlying situation, belief, awareness I have that is making that to be my best action? And being compassionately curious, not just curious and kicking myself, but compassionately, wow, I'm believing this about this person and that's making snapping to be my best response. I'm believing this about, or I'm not aware of my frustration with my wife and that snapping is making to be, is being my best response. So that's the second thing, compassionately curious. And the third thing is probably the most important is sometimes I'm not compassionately curious. I'm just frustrated that was not my best, that was not good. And then I forgive myself for judging myself that I'm screwing things up. I forgive myself for judging myself that I'm intentionally not doing my best. I'm just believing that in the moment. That's not true. because I know I'm doing my best. I believe on a good day I'm believing my best. That's true for me. I'm compassionately curious to understand what's leading some optimal action to be my best. And when I can't see any of that, I forgive myself for judging myself, for kicking myself, for believing that I'm hurting myself. I'm not doing my best. I'm intentionally not doing my best. So the first thing was, I'm doing my best, I'm compassionately curious, and I forgive myself for judging myself if none of that works. This process seems to be a lot more peaceful for me than following this mirage of always doing my best. That leads me to self-doubt in the long run. I start to doubt myself. Will I ever be able to do good? And such guilt of not doing my best and trying to do my best, following that mirage, can lead to success and good things in the short term. That's why people follow it. That's why I followed it for most of my life. But in the long run, it almost always leads to frustration and almost always leads to burnout. But this alternate approach leads to peacefulness for me and leads to success in the long run, I believe. I want to invite you to try this. Think of a situation where you thought, you screwed up. You didn't do your best. And assert you did your best according to the knowledge and awareness you had at the time you took the action. If you don't see it, then compassionately curious about what was missing in your awareness and understanding that made that to be, your best at the time. And if you can't see that, then forgiving yourself for kicking yourself, forgiving yourself for judging yourself. That, wow, I am judging myself that I'm not doing my best. I'm intentionally not doing my best. Forgive yourself for judging yourself for that. All right? That's all for now. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I love helping people out in this deep work of being peaceful with oneself. And if I can support anybody in this growth journey, I'll be honored. All right, that's all for now. Take care.